So yeah, we can dive right in. What was life like for you and your team before working with Pilothouse? What were you struggling with the most?
Good question. I mean, before partnering with your team, I mean, we knew where we wanted to go, but we just didn't have, the bench strength or or the team to get there. So, everything we were doing was just taking weeks and months. And so that was the frustrating part where, the online market space is moving so quickly. We knew where we wanted to go, but again, just didn't have the bench strength or the capabilities to get there. So it was pretty cumbersome. We were a small team, getting small wins along the way, but just weren't set up to scale. And that was the big turning point when we said, if we're going to scale, we've got to change how we do things and bring in some different capabilities to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what were your goals when starting with Pilothouse? Like, what goals did you set out for Pilothouse?
Uh, I remember saying, talking at a meeting, and they're sort of saying, why are we bringing on an agency? And I said, our goal is to fail faster. I want to fail, and I want to fail faster so that we can learn and keep optimizing. And again, with a small team, as we were learning, we would fail, and it would take a week or two to learn why we failed and optimize. But through bringing on Pilothouse, again, the goal was just to be able to test, learn, scale, repeat, test, learn, scale, repeat. So, listen, we're selling mushroom kits. This is not, there's not a blueprint for this. This isn't like selling alcohol or cereal where I came from. This is totally new territory. So there wasn't really this playbook that we could turn back to say, oh, well, when I was selling, mushroom kits before, these were the skills and this was the angles that work. So we really needed that, your team at Pilothouse to help us again, test a lot of different angles, a lot of different copy, and to again, fail faster and fail more efficiently, if you will.
How long have you been working with the team at Pilothouse? I actually don't even know the answer to that question.
Yeah, about six months. So started last fall, and we're coming into March right now. So
yeah. So how's it going? 6 month review. How has the team helped you reach your goals so far? And I'm curious if there's any stats that you can reference that would help demonstrate the impact.
Good question. So it's been a great ride. I mean, it really has felt like a partnership versus a signed contract. And coming from traditional CPG at points, you're all respected previous partners. It feels like a signed contract. But it really has been just a real partnership where we're, both shooting for the same stars and hustling and testing and, messaging back and forth with sort of constant ideation. So, over that time, we've, 2x'd our AOV, which was a big thing for us to achieve. Our average unit sells at about $24, $25, and it's a quite heavy item to ship. But as we increase our AOV, now doubling that, it just gives us a lot more flexibility in terms of the tools and levers we can pull throughout the different social platforms to acquire new customers. And with those different levers that we've been pulling, we've been able to also decrease our consumer acquisition costs by roughly 50% as well. So, we're getting larger baskets, and in the same breath, we're acquiring consumers at that lower rate. So, two awesome massive wins. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about the fact that, you're heading into uncharted territory with a new product that you don't have a ton of experience in. So there's no playbook to lean on or reference. Curious if there's anything that you want to touch on in terms of the creative testing, the fail fast mentality that the Pilothouse team, any good examples that you can reference that really showcase that.
Yeah. One of them is been almost sort of like an ASMR realization, which, I wouldn't have pegged, but it's that sensory sound and visual nature of growing mushrooms. One piece of creative that's absolutely crushed has been just this misting of the mushroom blocks, and never would have guessed it. But again, we're trying to make mushrooms sexy. You can go into any shopping mall or any online store, and there's mushroom prints everywhere. People are talking about them. There's conversations around legalization around the psilocybin side. So it's definitely a trending topic. And so this idea that they're sexy, but how do we convey that in a 3 second sort of thumb stopping moment with a consumer? And that ASMR, sort of the sound of the spritzing of the bottle that keeps the mushroom kits, the humidity levels has really been something that's crushed. Emojis have been sort of those, like, the fine tuning, if you will. Some copy has worked, and then you throw in a mushroom emoji, and all of a sudden it's 2x in growth. So it's been a lot of these little nuanced tweaks that, again, when we were working on our own, that would have been a very laborious task that would have taken weeks. But again, with the team at Pilothouse, it's just been so much more efficient. Ideating on a Monday and launching on a Wednesday, it's been a pretty great cycle.
Yeah, happy to hear that. The power of emojis, right? I'm curious if you can rewind to when you first started working with Pilothouse, or even during the sales process when you first started engaging with a partnerships team. Can you touch on any of fears or hesitations or concerns that you had with working with a vendor or an agency like us, and how we've helped kind of overcome some of those concerns?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you're bringing someone new onto a team, whether you're hiring a new employee or bringing on a new agency, or a new partner, if you will, there's that team dynamic. Are they going to fit in? Are they going to add value? Are they going to bring more solutions than problems? All these kind of things. So it was, and we were coming out of a pandemic too, so we are doing all of the onboarding online. We're not meeting face to face, and so there was some concerns there. Is this the right spend of resources, both financial and time? It takes time on both sides to onboard and to get things going. So that was one of the big concerns was, is it going to be the right fit? And then also just the return on investment. Was this going to be a team that was going to help us grow, reach our ambitions, and have that same, fire in the belly that we do around growing mushrooms? And I think that was answered early on when there was almost I don't want to say a pushback, because that doesn't do the process justice, but I felt like there was an honest analysis from your side as well. Like, is this the right partner for us? And I really respected that. Sometimes I think, when the other partner on the other side of the table is a bit too keen, you go, okay, well, why are they so keen? But there was an honest sort of dialogue and analysis about our business to say, do we think we can actually help you as well? And that really helped sort of address any concerns I had, because I felt like both sides were entering cautiously, but asking the right questions and searching for the right answers.
I appreciate the feedback. Well said.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear. And yeah, I also love it because I know I was a part of your onboarding experience. So it was really cool to get to kind of see onboarding you guys working from the very beginning to where we are now. So I always love to get to see that.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of going back to that original kind of start and all of it. In your experience throughout all of it, is there anything that specifically about the partnership with Pilothouse that you'd say was really unique relative to any other agencies or partners that you've worked with in the past?
Two parts, and it really grounds, I guess, around the first. And the first part was just the way Pilothouse is set up around, there's a fee-based model that, keeps the lights on and all those sort of basic business needs. But then there's that, the growth incentive, if we're winning together. And that was really important for me. Understanding that, Pilothouse and your team, again, was going after those same goals. And then the other part of the element that I think has made the partnership with Pilothouse so unique is it doesn't feel like, maybe I'm just, blind to it, but it doesn't feel like there's sort of scope or spend creep. I think with other agencies that I've worked in the past, it's always, can we also service this part of the business? Can we also service that part of the business? And there's this quiet confidence with your team that they know that they're doing a great job. And that, if and when the time's right, it's almost that the client is the one who asks, can you also help us with this? Can you also help us with that? It's more this confidence that, let us prove to you that we can deliver service and grow your business. And then by doing that successfully, we won't have to ask for your business. The opposite almost happens, where the client then says, you're doing a great job. You're crushing Meta right now. What about this platform? What about that platform? And then that same process rolls over where, okay, well, let us take a look at your business. Let's understand it. Those two elements have been really valuable. And I would suggest your team knows the business as well as we do. There's complete transparency in terms of what our COGS are, what our margins are, what our targets are. And that's, again, important. Everyone on the client side knows what our objectives are and, how much wiggle room they've got. And to the point, it's a beautifully oiled machine right now where, approvals are still sought after, but I trust the team to make the right decisions because I know they've got the right information to make those calls.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love getting to hear all of that. And yeah, it's definitely what, we strive for at Pilothouse. So love to get to hear that on that side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of wrapping up on kind of my end here. What would you say to someone considering to partner with Pilothouse? If someone came to you and asked, is there any specific things you would say to them?
Don't. You're our competitive advantage. Don't sign up. No, but if you do choose to sign up with Pilothouse, no, just, I think they're an extension of your team. They are as if, I would expect you guys at our holiday party. I would expect you guys at our summer retreat.
Don't tempt us.
They really are, a great team that just wants to win. And egos are parked at the door. And there's just this desire to work collaboratively to find those wins. And it doesn't matter where the ideas come from. If a client suggests the ideas, let's test it. If the client services suggest the ideas, let's test them. But there's no ego in the room. There's just this collective goal to win.
That's awesome. We talk about no ego all the time at Pilothouse, and it's always refreshing to have conversations like this, to see it actually materialize into like a client relationship that's beneficial for both sides. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can touch on the intangibles that come with working with Pilothouse, and specifically your workload / stress levels. How has Pilothouse helped you and your team feel more confident and less stressful in your day to day, your week to week, and our ability to help your business grow?
Yeah, the stress levels are probably the same. They're just now focused in a new area. Any of those stresses around the D2C space or any of our platforms are largely, evaporated. I know the business is being handled. I know that the team is on it. I know if there's questions, they'll reach out. I know if I've got a question, sitting down with the board, or there's a quick little presentation I need to do, and I can, quickly ping the team and get an answer. But it's a part of the business that I don't need to worry about as much, and it allows me to focus on other parts of the business. I mean, this sounds like a brochure pitch, but it really is, honestly, comes from the heart that I can, finish the day, I can start the day, and the D2C is a big part of our revenue stream, and I don't need to worry about it because I feel like capable hands are managing it.
I mean, that's obviously great to hear. Is part of how we communicate, like a reporting structure, is that part of that trust building when it comes to your stress levels and knowing kind of the day to day? We hear that piece frequently from these types of conversations. So I'm curious if how we actually report data and performance and creative strategy, ad strategy, if all of that is a component in all of this.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. There's a lot of data that flows back and forth. It's a element of decision making that I rely on, and so whether it be the Friday recap that comes out every Friday, that sets the tone for both how this previous week has performed, as well as setting the tone for the next week, as well as just a midweek Thursday note on Slack or a Wednesday note on Slack to say, hey, new creatives crushing it. AOV has done this, other metrics have done that. There's a very fluid sharing of information that I really like. And again, it's all just fact based. It's the numbers. No one can dance around them. Those are the numbers, and I love that because it lets us know at every moment how we're performing against our metrics. Really happy to work with you guys. Sort of came across you through the podcast. Felt that there was something different there. Was looking for different thinking. Was looking for thinking that didn't reside in Manhattan or sort of the core of LA or Toronto. Was sort of looking for some different thinking. And I remember reaching out to an old colleague, Tim Tay in Victoria, and saying, he works in the tech space. Do you guys, do you know anyone at Pilothouse? Would love to work. And he made an introduction, and the rest is history. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to work with you guys.
Cool. Awesome to hear, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it, Ridley.
Hopefully it wasn't too glowing. I mean, I could try to throw in some negative comments, but it all comes from the heart. So
you did a great job. Great job. No complaints.
Awesome. Thank you guys.